So the Hurricanes just beat the Seminoles 36-14. Hurricanes improved 8-0. Florida State is 1-7 now. In a video like this where there's so many things that I want to talk about, the only question that I really have to ask myself is like, where do I even start? Because I want to talk about all kinds of things. Mainly, some of the ideas and thoughts that I had throughout the game. Also, I want to talk about a couple of plays that stood out to me. So I'm just going to jump right into it. Before I do that, my name is Jordan Harris. I'm your favorite host in the entire world, and this is Sports Truth. Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about in this game is if I was a Florida State fan, I would feel a crazy level of shame. Not because they lost by 20 plus points. That's not the thing. My issue is that I felt like Florida State, the coaching staff, they did not come out with the intentions of winning this game. It was pretty obvious if you ask me. Their main focus was to keep from getting embarrassed. And like my man Herm Edwards said a long time ago, you play to win the game. And you can always tell if a team has their heart on winning or if the team and the coaching staff has their heart on just trying to keep it close. It was obvious that's what Florida State was doing. And I said before the game even started, I think a couple of days before the game kicked off, I told y'all exactly what Florida State was going to do. I told you what the game plan was going to be. It was going to be screen pass left, screen pass right, screen pass in the middle, or hand the ball off. And then I said they're going to mix in a little bit of wildcat every now and again. And they did exactly that. They did not intend to win that game. They just wanted to keep it close, make it look respectable, not get crazy embarrassed. That was their whole game plan. So if I was a Florida State fan, if I was on the coaching staff, I would feel ashamed of what happened. I'm just going to put that out there to be honest with you. Okay. So my initial thoughts on the game, as soon as the game ended, I had a weird feeling, like a real weird feeling about the game. I still do have a weird feeling about it. It's like I want to be excited because we won and we did move to 8-0, which is a big deal. Like if you're a Hurricanes fan, as long as I've been, going 8-0 is a big deal. But I also felt a little bit of frustration, to be honest with you, because it really wasn't on the players, really wasn't on the coaching staff. It was just more of the fact that I was wanting to get so much payback for what Florida State did to our Hurricanes the last time they played at the Hard Rock Stadium. So the fact that they came in and beat the brakes off of us by 40-plus points, it made me want to beat them like 63-3 or 50-0. It made me want to do something crazy like that. I wanted our Hurricanes to run the score up so bad that on Florida State's last drive, or maybe it was the second to last drive, one of the players ended up catching the ball and getting tackled real close to the sideline. And I'm like, no, he got out of bounds. Stop the clock. He got out of bounds. Don't run the clock. He got out. Stop it. Because I wanted to get the ball back to score again. It was like a minute and a half, maybe like a minute and 10 seconds left or something like that. And I'm screaming at the ref, no, stop the clock because I want them to do a 3-and-out, punt the ball back to us, and I want to ram it down their throat again. That was my game plan. I've told y'all before, I have an unhealthy dislike of Florida State. I would not care if they lost by 1,000 points next week. I would not mind if they never won another game in the history of their program. I do not like Florida State. So that's just where I'm at on that. Okay, so let's talk about a few things that I noticed during the game. So after the Hurricanes went up 14-0 in the first quarter, I think it was the first quarter, they went up 14-0. There was a shot of Mario Cristobal on the sideline, and he walked past one of the players and gave him a high five. And he was like, "Let's go." He gave him this super intense, crazy look. And when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, Coach Cristobal's on the same energy I'm on. Like he trying to blow these fools out and make it as embarrassing as possible. It just stood out to me. It was right after we scored our second touchdown. They showed him on the sideline, and he had this look in his eye that said, "I want to run this score up. I want to embarrass them. Let's go." And I'm right with him on that. So that was the first thing I wanted to point out. Something that I saw. The second thing I want to talk about is We got this new running back, this new player that these last couple weeks he started suiting up and playing, and he looks excellent. He's number 6. I don't know if y'all know who he is, but this number 6 that we got, he looks totally different than the number 6 that was wearing that jersey in the first few games, the first 6 games of the season. I don't know, he got number 6, and his last name is Martinez. I don't know who this number 6 is, but the last couple games, it's a different person the last couple games is a different person than the first 6 games. So maybe y'all know something I don't know, but he looks excellent now. The dude is running through all kinds of tackles. He's playing like Earl Campbell almost, because he's making people have to make business decisions when it's time to tackle him. Like, do I tackle this dude, or should I just let him go by and maybe they won't put that on a film and then they can watch me, maybe draft me later? Like, he's making people do some business decisions because he is running hard. And he's not running out of bounds. He's not going down. He's making you take him down. Damien Martinez is running like a monster. So we got to give him kudos for sure. Let's give him a little round of applause for that. Damien Martinez is showing out, and he looks exactly like the player that we all hoped we were getting in the transfer portal. So shout out to Damien Martinez. He looks excellent right now. The next thing I want to talk about is the other running back, Mark Fletcher. So Mark Fletcher, he does run hard. I think he is super impressive. But somebody's got to tell my man, when you're running in traffic, you have to cover the ball with 2 hands. I don't know why this hasn't been addressed. Maybe because he wasn't putting the ball on the turf, but he has done that twice now in the last couple games. So hopefully the coaches can show him the same highlights that I'm looking at, because he runs in the middle of a pack with 1 hand, covering it like he's just running down the sideline or something. He's in the middle of the pack, going through the line of scrimmage, and he's holding it with 1 hand. And, of course, he fumbled. And I saw the same thing by our running back just before we fumbled against Georgia Tech last year. I remember saying, if he doesn't hold the ball with 2 hands, he's going to fumble. And then like a quarter later, he put the ball on the ground. So somebody's got to get a hold of Mark Fletcher and tell him, bro, 2 hands on the ball, high and tight. Do not let these fools punch it out. Once you get a little bit of daylight, then you can go ahead and switch the ball to the outside hand and run down the sideline. But until then, cover it up. That's the reason why he's fumbling, is because he's running through crowds with 1 arm. It doesn't work like that. Okay, next play I want to talk about is what I want to call the luckiest play. No, not the luckiest play. It was one of the luckiest plays. But overall, the luckiest drive of all time. And that was Florida State's first touchdown drive. That was so frustrating. So, if you remember, it was 4th and 1, and they were doing a quarterback sneak. Somehow, of all the teams in America, the one team out of 120-plus teams in college football, the one team that I would say would give up a 50-yard play on a quarterback sneak would probably be our Hurricanes. I mean, I do think the defense looked pretty good this game. Florida State's offense is horrible. It's even worse than I thought. But I thought our defense looked pretty good. I thought Maui Noah looked a lot better. But if there's any team in the country that I would say, I don't bet, but if there was one team that I would bet money on giving up a 50-plus yard play on a quarterback sneak, I would say our Hurricanes probably going to do that. But that was the luckiest drive of all time. It was such an ugly drive. The dude, first, he barely even got the snap. Barely even got the snap on that 4th and 1 quarterback sneak. I think they snapped the ball before he was ready, because you could see his head and his hands jerk back. And he's like, oh, the ball's here. And it looked like he didn't get enough of a push initially. Then somehow I'm screaming, grab him. Because I don't know, it looked like a lot of players just stopped playing because they thought what typically happens, the pile pushes this way or the pile pushes that way. They blow the play dead, plays over. And I think a lot of players didn't play through the whistle, and they were waiting for the whistle to happen. They were just anticipating it, right? And before you know it, this fool gets shifted one way, then gets shifted back this way. Then he does like a weird pirouette spin move, and he gone down the field. I'm like, what the heck is this? And I mean, just a few. Well, I guess what 2 or 3 plays later, they end up being right there on the 1 or 2 yard line. They call play, score a touchdown on it. So luckiest drive of all time. They got 7 points on the board in the first quarter, or I'm sorry, second quarter. It was lucky, but they got their 7. It is what it is, but still, it was luck. Okay. The next thing I want to talk about is what I prefer as far as our offense goes. We are 8 games into the season. By in the first 4 or 5 games, you're just trying to figure out who your team is. Is your team good? Are you going to be pass first? Are you going to be run heavy? Are you going to be a defensive first team? Like, what are you? Right now, we know what we are. We are I won't say what I know what we are. We are most effective when we are throw first. I don't even think it's a question anymore. If you disagree with that, please let me know in the comment section. I think we are better off when we are pass first and we're not playing for third downs. I just finished watching the 49ers game. One thing that Kyle Shanahan loves to do is he loves to play for third down. He will throw the ball on first down, get 5 yards. Let's say he throws the ball on first down and they get an incompletion and they go to 2nd and 10. He runs the ball on 2nd and 10 almost every time. And they typically end up at like a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 5. My mentality with our Hurricanes, we are much better whenever we are. When the ratio, most of the time you want your ratio to look like this, pass, run, you want it to be pretty close. We are a much better team when we are more like this. When the pass far outweighs how many running plays we do. We are much better when we do that. So when we come out and we throw the ball on first down, that's a sign of us being aggressive, and I love it. I love the fact that we're going out and are attempting to get a first down or a touchdown on every play. I think when we do that, it gets the defense back on their heels, and then it allows Mark Fletcher, it allows Damien Martinez to surprise some people with some quick runs up the middle and whatnot. But whenever we turn into this run the ball to set up the pass offense, it just doesn't work for us, man. Like, I saw that against California. I saw that against Virginia Tech. It almost feels like we're wasting downs when we do it. 1st and 10, we hand the ball off, we're going to get 4 yards. And it's like, okay. Now it's 2nd and 6. Let's see if we can get a first down. Incompletion. Okay, 3rd and 6. Let's throw it again. No. Okay, punt. I'd rather be aggressive on first down, see if we can get a first down. If not, we can get a 2nd and 2 and maybe run it and get that first down. We just seem to be far more effective when we are aggressive on first down and we are throwing the ball first and then running the ball as our counter. I think it's pretty self-explanatory on that. Next play I want to talk about, right before halftime, I saw some people not complaining, but just debating. Even the commentators were debating if we should have kicked a field goal or scored a touchdown. Not scored a touchdown. Gone for the touchdown right before half. So we were up 7. And I saw, the commentators were saying that we should have gone for a touchdown. I think it was 2 seconds left, and we were on the 2 or 3 yard line. One of the commentators seemed shocked that we were actually kicking a field goal. And to me, it's a no-brainer. You have to kick a field goal there. For one, you gave your team an opportunity to score a touchdown, and they failed. They got on the 2 or the 3 yard line. So don't complain to me now saying, let's go for it, and rolling your eyes and getting upset because we're not going for it. No, you had your chance, and you didn't get it. Now I'm the coach. I'm taking it out of your hands. We're going to kick a field goal, and we're going to go up 2 possessions. That's the name of the game. How many possessions are you winning by? That's the name of the game. If you're up by 10 points and you're on the 2 yard line and the clock is not up against you, let's say it's 4th and 2 from the 2 yard line. 4th and goal from the 2 yard line. And you're up 10 points, I say do not kick the field goal because you're only going to go up 13 points, which is 2 scores. 2 touchdowns beats you still. I say go for a touchdown there because then it gives you a 3 possession lead. I'm all about possessions. If you're up 17 points, kick a field goal, now you're up 20, that's still 3 possessions. I say go for it and get you a touchdown to extend the possessions game out. So we were up 7 points. The game was super sluggish and super slow because Florida State was playing this keep away game. They were playing this keep the game close. Let's not give the ball to Miami. That's all they were doing. So it limited our amount of possessions, which is exactly what I said was going to happen before the game. And with that being said, if you're not having as many possessions as you're used to, the score is going to be tight. So if you're up by 7 points, get your field goal kicker out there, go up 2 possessions, and then we'll get the ball after halftime, hopefully score a touchdown, 17 points, 3 possession lead. That's what I think. I think that's what was going on through Mario Cristobal's mind. So that's something I'm really curious about. Like, let me know what y'all's thoughts on that. Did you think that he made the right decision there, or do you think he should have gone for it with, I think it was 2 seconds left, we had 1 play left, and we were on the 2 or 3 yard line? Do you think we should have gone for the touchdown to go up 14 points and potentially only be up 7 at halftime, or were you happy with going for a field goal and extending our possession lead? Let me know that in the comment section. Excuse me. All right, so the next play I want to talk about, or the next thought that I had going through my mind, was our safety Harris. I expected Patterson to play a whole lot more. So I was surprised that Harris got as much playing time as he did. He played the entire game. I think he played like every defensive snap, so that was a surprise to me. But the thought that came to mind with Harris is that he always seems to be 1 step behind or 1 step in the wrong direction all the time, like very consistently. And if you've watched some of my previous videos, I hate to be one to just talk bad about a player, but I have been down on Harris quite a bit, and we share a last name, so I want to big up the guy, but he's just not performing right now. But he had a couple of plays, I think both were in the first half actually, where he had an opportunity to make some huge plays, some interceptions. I think it was both tip balls. They just got tipped in the air and they just hung in the air forever. And both times Harris is just running to the ball, and just missed it both times. So I say, as we say, a day late and a dollar short. Like that's what it seemed like he is. He's either 1 step behind or 1 step in the wrong direction as far as his angles goes. It seems like almost every play he's doing that, where it's like, oh, he almost made the play. He just took 1 bad step in this direction, and he should have been going that way. He could have cut him off. But he ended up taking a bad angle, and the guy scored a touchdown. Or if he would have just stepped this direction, he would have caught that interception on the tip ball and scored. Like, it's just always 1 step behind or 1 step in the wrong direction. Even after that game, I still think we got to go with Patterson. And I would really like to get him, because it looks like we're going to end up getting to the playoffs. I would really love for Patterson to get more exposure, more experience, because when you get into these playoffs, you're going to play against some high-level, super experienced teams. And I would really like for Patterson to get some experience before we get into those games. That's my thought on it. Okay? The next thing is our defense stepped up on a 4th and 2, kinda. And the reason why I say kinda is because we did stop him on 4th and 2, which is always big. But the issue is that Florida State had a freshman quarterback, and he missed somebody who was wide open across the middle. So I want to give the defense a pat on the back for that, but it's kind of hard to, because when they showed the replay, I'm like, oh, this dude is wide open across the middle. He just streaked all the way across. And if that was Louisville's quarterback or Pittsburgh's quarterback, they would have hit him easily. They would have seen that. But typically we have a freshman quarterback and you're playing to not get embarrassed instead of playing to win. Your game plan on offense is, like I said earlier, screen pass left, screen pass right, hand the ball off. Every now and again you'll do a wildcat, but then if you're trying to get real tricky, you'll do a play action and throw the ball. But whenever you do play action, especially with a freshman quarterback, you're only going to give him 1 read. So it was pretty easy to see on that play. He play action and he looked at one guy the entire time. Didn't take his eye off of him. Ended up overthrowing it. So if he would have been any other quarterback in the ACC or almost any other quarterback in the ACC, he would have looked at that read, saw he was covered, and his eyes would have shifted to the middle of the field and saw somebody wide open, and he would have hit him. So I kind of want to give the defense credit for stopping 4th and 2, but it's kind of hard to because the guy was wide open. Let's talk about my guy Kiko real quick. Kiko Marinoa. He is kind of a lightning rod at this point. The reason why I say this is because a lot of comments that I see in the comment section, people are killing him because he just hasn't been the player that we saw last year, wearing number 51. Like now that he's wearing number 1, I think it was 51, but now that he's wearing number 1 this season, he just doesn't seem like the same player. Not quite as good. He's missing tackles. He's taking poor angles here and there. But I thought he had a much better game this game. I thought he looked much better than he did the previous games. California, he struggled like crazy. Virginia Tech, he struggled like crazy. This game, he seemed like he was a little more focused. He made more tackles. His angles were better. And then he made some really key defensive plays in the passing game, which I hadn't seen before. So I thought that was real cool. That was a wonderful step in the right direction because if we are going to do anything with the rest of this season, we're going to need Kiko to play a lot better than he played against in that middle part of the season. California, Virginia Tech, those games, like he's got to play better than that. So this game was a much better step in that direction. Okay. The next thing, the second to last thing I want to talk about is I don't know if it's Cam Ward or the receivers, but we got something going on with something was going on with the offense this game. It seemed like Cam Ward was holding the ball. Maybe what I'm thinking is instead of him taking one play at a time, he was looking for a 35-yard touchdown. I'm sorry, a 35-point touchdown. He wanted to blow them out from day one, and all he was looking for was big plays and big touchdowns instead of just taking what was in front of him. That's the only thing I could think of because he seemed like he was holding the ball forever and looking down the field, and he couldn't find anybody open. And I didn't have the all-22 angle, so I was just watching the regular game. And I'm like, are they just not open down the field? Or is he turning down 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10-yard gains looking down for 40-yard gains? That was my thought process on that. It just made me a little concerned, like, are our wide receivers not getting separation? Or is Cam Ward just overdoing it right now? And he's looking past a first down. And he's looking to get a 40-yard touchdown every time. So, were y'all seeing that same? Let me know in the comment section if y'all were seeing that same thing. Cam Ward took a couple of sacks, a couple of them from a transfer from Miami, which sucked. But I always hate when somebody leaves Miami and they do well. And I definitely hate when they do well against us. But that's a whole nother story. Were y'all seeing that? Do you think that Cam Ward was just overlooking open people, or were the receivers just not getting separation? I will say this though. The corners for Florida State, they surprised me a lot in this game because they were way better than I expected. They did show a couple of receivers running their full routes, the full route tree, and the corner was right with them every now and again. Number 24, I can't think of what his name is for Florida State, but he was playing his butt off. He seemed like he was doing pretty well out there. So the last thing I want to talk about is I know a lot of us Hurricanes fans, we tend to be greedy. I know I was. Like I said, at the end of this game, I didn't really know how to feel. We won by 22 points. We beat Florida State. We all cannot stand Florida State. We all in the same boat there. So I felt like I should have been really excited, but I kind of felt let down, to be honest, because I really wanted to beat them by 40 or 50 points. I wanted to make it just embarrassing. I wanted it to be a loss that they look back on 20 years from now and be like, you remember that time when the Hurricanes beat Florida State by 45 points? That's what I was wanting, something like that. So at the end of the game, I was a little let down, but then I had to tell myself, man, let's not be greedy. We did beat our rival by 22 points. Our rival is 1-7, and we are 8-0. That's a wonderful thing. So let's not. Let's not be too greedy, right? We can be a little greedy, but let's not be too greedy. Let's accept and be happy with where we are. We're number 5 in the nation now, which is beautiful. Top 5 team. I'm hoping that we did enough to sway some of those recruits that came to the game. I'm hoping that we were able to, some of those players who were considering going to Florida State, hopefully we can get some decommits from them pretty soon, and they can be suiting up in the orange and green pretty soon. That'd be wonderful. Yeah, that's all that I got for you today. Please do like the video, subscribe to the channel. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I truly appreciate that. Take care. God bless. Peace.